I'm sure you've been getting this question a lot today, but I still don't know the answer to it. I want to know the answer about how things were shot.
Oh, gosh.
Was it actually all done with the computer screens that we're seeing?
Yes.
So you're technically a cinematographer here.
Oh, no, I'm not. No. So the way we would do like the FaceTime scenes is I would sit behind a computer. There was a GoPro on the top of it. And then John Cho would be in another room, and he would have a computer and a GoPro.
Oh, wow.
And we would have earwigs in. And so I would just hear John's voice. He would hear my voice. And then the director's voice would be in our ear as well.
Whoa.
Saying, Debra, lift your eyes up 2 inches, 1 inch to the left, a half inch to the left. Stay there. That's John's face. Action.
What?
Yes. And so you have no human being to act with. It's all, you have to do all of it in your head. You have to imagine that you're talking with someone and seeing their face. And then my character has an entirely different reality going on at the same time.
Yeah.
So, it was trying to imagine seeing him playing the scene, knowing what I know. It was the biggest acting challenge I've ever had.
Debra was telling me that you had an earpiece in, you could hear each other, you could hear the director, but there was actually a GoPro camera on top of these devices, right?
Yeah, we had a GoPro mounted on the laptop. Now, then some of the iPhone footage, if you recall some of the memories, the family memories, that was me holding an actual iPhone. The director's iPhone, which is in his pocket right now, so we took that. And then for some of the memories, we used camcorders of the era, and we used authentic devices as our family aged, and so I held the camera for those memories, and we just tried to set scenes, and whoever was supposed to be holding the camera would hold the camera, and in most cases it was Papa.
It's cool. Now when you play a father in a movie, obviously he's going through a very emotional element in this particular storyline. Do you put yourself in those shoes as a dad yourself, like how you would feel in that moment? Is that kind of how you get there emotionally as an actor to pull that off?
I can't help but relate to a father's worry. It's I don't know how I would not relate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's right there, and it's sort of what parents do for me, as soon as my wife was pregnant, the worrying started.
Yeah.
And, it ebbs and flows, and sometimes, they're sick and the worrying goes up and they're okay, but it never really shuts off. And so that's something that it was just, not even a step away from me.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'm watching this film, it's very intense, obviously. Do you shoot it linearly at all? I know movies are shot non-linear most of the time, but do you get to shoot this arc linearly because there's so much happening? Because there's so many twists and turns and so many things that different happen. Do you get to go in order at all?
I think it was generally linear.
Cool.
Because, and I remember I'm pretty sure the first shot of the film was the first scene that I have with Margot in the movie. But I don't think they tried to shoot linearly. We shot most of the stuff in the house first, and then we went out and shot the location stuff. So it generally was linear.
I thought it was interesting how the movie starts on Microsoft and kind of switches midway through to Mac when you kind of go into Margot's computer. Was that something that you guys discussed in regards to tone? Because it almost shifts the tone as well as you get into her computer.
Yeah, maybe, we didn't talk about that, and but that's an interesting observation because there's a shift from sort of past, present.
Yeah.
It delineates the beginning of the movie is sort of getting you up to the present tense, and then the present tense is this.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah.
You have a line, you say, I didn't know my daughter. I don't know my daughter. It's a crazy thing because you think you know people, like you really do, and like you think especially your family members, you think you know them, and then this kind of movie dives into this idea that we're not with them all the time. We might be able to FaceTime and text and do all those things. Did it affect the way you are in your real life and how what you know about family members or what you know about your own children? Is that something that kind of has changed you as John Cho in real life?
I think in general it's made me think what is the nature of knowing somebody? The computer's interesting because there's all kinds of data.
Yeah.
We have all the data in the world now, but it's not necessarily knowledge. And the same with personalities. Like you have a profile, but so it says likes, dislikes, and says where they've been and what food they've been eating. But does that mean knowing them? And so it's just sort of, I guess, a life question. What does it mean to know somebody? And interpreted through or seen through the angle of technology.
Has it changed the way you FaceTime in real life? Has it affected that at all?
No.
It's still just normal FaceTime.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the thing that I utilize the most. You know, I'm a single mom.
Yeah.
You know, and so in terms of social media, that's something, you know, in computers, I'm grateful for that convention.
You know, you mentioned being a mom, and I think one of the beauties of this movie is just kind of watching the emotional arc of what these characters go through. And,
Yes.
and without giving things away, there's just a lot going on in this movie that we don't know what's happening. But when you
Yes.
play a mom in a movie, do you bring aspects of your real life into the character? And then the opposite, do you take things from characters you've played and then bring them into your life as a mom?
Well, anytime, you know, you're playing a mom, if you live that life, you know, you have a very specific connection to the character. So this character is a single mom of a son. I'm a single mom of a son. And, you know, John Cho is a parent, and, you know, we could imagine, any adult imagining a child disappearing, you know, it's the greatest nightmare. And, you know, in both cases, the parents in this movie, you know, desperately want to protect their children. And I think that's just something it's very easy to relate to. I also, another reason why I just wanted to do the movie is because even if you take the convention away, which is super fun to watch, it's a classic suspense thriller.
Agreed.
And I grew up on those, you know, Jagged Edge, and we don't make those anymore. And so I was like, yes, let's do that. Let's make people sit on the edge of their seat. And I didn't know if it was going to work. You know, I was like, here's this 23-year-old kid, you know, and I was like, but he is literally doing something that has never been done in movies ever, and so I want to be a part of it.
I was looking at your films before and your filmography and the shows you've worked on in your career, and it's my favorite movie you ever made was Along Came Polly. I love that movie so much.
It was so great.
But you had the ability to play a character on a show for multiple seasons, multiple arcs, multiple years. With movies, you get a 2-hour window.
Yeah.
So it's a different type of arc, a different type of storytelling.
For sure.
But I'm sure you've been asked this before, but when you play a character like Grace for so long, is she changed you whatsoever as a person when you play someone that long?
You know, I have to imagine yes. You know, it was 8 years, and I certainly became very interested in interior design after playing Grace.
Really?
Yeah, I did. It just I saw architecture and design in a whole new way playing that role.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for talking to me today. And Along Came Polly is a masterpiece, by the way. Seriously.
I'm sorry when his face goes against when they're playing basketball.
Yes. You imagine shooting that?
Slow motion. Oh, I remember the day they shot that.
It's like, ooh, it's like the hairy.
And the hair and the sweat.